Hello, today we're going to speak about the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration and how you can obtain a certificate of payment, which is required when you sell your business. Very, very important to understand this process because when you are an escrow, a seller cannot receive any proceeds from the sale of a business until the document is in escrow. And this gives the buyer reassurance that there is no successor's liability. And of course, successor's liability we've spoken about in other videos, and we could certainly always elaborate more if you want to give us a call on the phone. Happy to do that. The certificate of payment is issued by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. Is one where the process is somewhat tedious. The state will want to do an audit on the business, hopefully a minor audit while you're in an escrow. However, they on occasion will do a full audit depending upon the type of businesses, a business that's involved. Oftentimes businesses that sell liquor might be subject to audit much more than a business that, let's say, does not sell alcohol and is on a smaller scale, especially in regards to what sales taxes that they're collecting. However, going back to the process, the state of California will require copies of previous tax returns that have been filed with the state. They will want to see proof that sales taxes have been paid. This would be in the form of either canceled checks or bank statements. They might want to also see books and records. This, along with a closing tax return, would give them what they need in order to start processing the request. Unfortunately, this cannot be done until after a seller has had their last day of business. So oftentimes you're in the escrow process and you're basically, it's a waiting game. You're waiting for, buyer's performance, for the completion of the requirements of the escrow and of the agreements. And of course, only once the seller has handed buyer the possession, only at that time can they go ahead and complete a final closing tax return and appear at the State Board of Equalization. We're going to call them State Board because, of course, they've been State Board all these years. And as we know, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration was once known as the State Board of Equalization. However, once the state has all these documents, it may take them a few weeks to process them. It's very frustrating, I know. There's this whole waiting game that goes on, and it's unavoidable. I would really like to say that like the old days, you used to be able to walk in the door and walk out with it on the same morning, but unfortunately that just doesn't exist today. But of course, the more that your books and records are in order and you're prepared to go into the board with everything that you need, then they can, of course, go ahead and at least begin processing your request. I do want to recommend that when you do show up at the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, that you come prepared not only with as many books and records as you possibly can bring with you, even if that means that you're leaving them in the car to avoid another trip in the future, but that you do arrive with a cashier's check for the sales tax that you owe based on that closing tax return. That will, by the way, include the value of the fixtures and equipment. And that way, cashier's check is cash when the State Board, the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration receive it. This way, if you pay it online, there's going to be a waiting period. So you certainly want to do everything possible to be able to have them process your request as quickly as possible so that you can get your money out of the escrow and move on. So thank you very much. Feel free to call our office if you have any more questions. We're always happy to elaborate. Again, Melissa Motkins, Sepulveda Escrow. It's 818-838-1831. Thank you.